Louisiana Beer Reviews, Boulevard's Tank 7, American Saison. This has been on the market close to 20 years. And see, there's many beer reviews for it, video reviews, many written reviews. I intend to watch all of them that I could find in English and read the written reviews from the last month on Rate Beer, Beer Advocate, Untapped. Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City, Missouri. One of the old craft beer companies from Missouri since 1989. An American Saison Ale, 8.5% alcohol, 45 bitterness units, it says. Certified kosher, right here. KCK. Is that Kansas City Kosher? Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City, Missouri. Please enjoy by, and they didn't print the date. Enjoy by, and it's blank. All right. Don't know if it's fresh or not. I've seen that happen on other beer bottles and cans before. Enjoy by, and then the date's not there. This bottle was given to me by my neighbor across the street. Thank you, Miss Lynn. Her grandson was on a road trip, some kind of training camp for sports in college football in Kansas City area, and he bought a multi-pack. And I tried the red ale, space camper. I didn't care for that at all. And I tried the second one, the Zon wheat beer. It was on par with Blue Moon, maybe not quite as good. And now this. I've never had this before. We can get this in Louisiana now for the past year, but only in the 4-packs, and I would prefer to. I kept saying, man, if I find a single, I'll review it. One single found me, and her report for the beers was negative across the board. She didn't like any of them. But on the other hand, the most exotic she goes in beer tasting is Ice House. So she doesn't go beyond Ice House. All right. So they said put it in a tulip glass. That's what Beer Advocate and Rate Beer was saying. They don't show a glass on the website for this beer. It's a stark white head, creamy looking. Don't know if it's made with wheat. Didn't indicate that. It's extremely bubbly. It's translucent, but it's opaque, really. You can't see through it. Just the light gets through it. All right, so it's gold. Yeah. All right. Saison is what they have in France and Belgium, farmhouse ales, they call them, because they're for drinking while they're working on the farm. But they're not 8.5%. Usually they're more like 3.5, or less, low. But they use the Brettanomyces generally, and they have that funky horse blanket aroma. This one sort of has that. Yeah. It's an unusual aroma, so it's like Limburger cheese, which I've been eating. I try to get people at work to try it. Oh, no, it's terrible. I say, you never had it. Well, I bet it's terrible. And they would say that about this because of the smell. I say, you just got to get past that. Be a little bit more open-minded. Yeah, the bitterness is there. I mean, 45 bitterness units. I think that's higher than the Saisons you get from Belgium and France. It's very dry out here. We're in a drought. You can see it's dry. The vegetation behind me, everything's drying up. We've been in a drought since the middle of May, and they say that the AccuWeather is saying it's a 55% chance today, and I'm sure hoping that's the case. I mean, we've had these before in the summer here, but this is a bad one. Probably the worst one in 20 years. And it's getting up to around 100 to 101 every day. It's very hot right now. Sweetness, yes, it's there. 3 out of 5 sugar cubes. I'd say 3 out of 5 sugar cubes. Bitterness. Yes, 3 out of 5 hop cones. Get that horse blanket, that kind of weird how do you describe it? You got to taste it for yourself. It's an unusual flavor, that Brettanomyces. You would say, no, if it smells like a sweaty horse blanket, I never do it. It smells like a barn. And then the Limburger, they say it smells like your feet been in boots for 8 hours sweating. You pull the boots off, but it doesn't really smell like that. But it's hard to approximate what it smells like. But you get used to it very quickly. Medium body and a mostly dry finish. This is a really good one. I was so disappointed in that Space Camper. That thing couldn't even get out of the C range. That's bad. The Zahn was fine, but why would I pay craft beer prices for something that's no better if it's as good as Blue Moon or Shock Top? The answer is I wouldn't do it. Plus it has less alcohol, 4.4, so then it has less body and character. I'm not saying I need the alcohol, like, oh yeah, I gotta have the alcohol. I mean, I can buy cheap vodka for that. That was the case. It's just that I find the ones like this at 8.5, they'll have a lot more character. Just they hold the flavors together, more body. Even though it's not heavier body, it's just something about it. And with flavored beverages, you get that. When they're in the 10 to 12 range, they seem to hold together better. You get the ones that, like the Seagram's Escapes at 3.5. The flavors will be okay. The beer doesn't hold together so well. Now, once you get above 12, it gets dicey and typically unpleasant, I find, with beer. Beer doesn't, to me, it's me speaking, to me, beer does very poorly above 12. You might say, well, you do Bourbon County brand stout every year. That's 14.3 sometimes. And you give it an A+, 98 out of 100, 100 out of 100 sometimes. That's true. But they're not really pleasant to drink. I mean, the flavor's good, but it's like so strong. I'm thinking like, oh, I'll be glad when this beer is gone. You know, I won't have to look at it for another year. I don't know. It's a conundrum early. I hear Jerry's off talking next door. So, Saison's farmhouse ales. Honestly, I don't really like the flavor. I'll tell you the truth. It doesn't appeal to me. I mean, I can deal with it, the smell and all, and the unusualness. It's no problem. It's not repulsive. I just don't like the flavor. I don't ever say, oh, can't wait to try that. The North Coast Prankster, wonderful beer. Don't like it. It's a wonderful beer, though. But when I'm beer shopping, you know, and I see 10 different beers, and these ales are all about the same price, the Saisons would be one of the last ones I'm going to grab, okay? I'm just going to tell you that up front. And I probably won't grab them. Stouts, Imperial Stouts, yeah, those would be the first. Good double IPAs, good ones, you know. Hopefully they're good. I'll pull those. Or Imperial Porters, of course. Session IPAs, you know I'm going to try to avoid it. Craft style lagers, and they're trying to be like, oh, this is like Miller High Life. I'm like, but it's only, you know, $11 a 6-pack. I'm like, yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. Definite A. 94 out of 100. 9.4 out of 10. If this is your style, it should really work. Not my style, but that's fine. I try to give fair ratings according to style, not according to my personal preference, which is very unfair. So, Les Bon Temps Relais, a most excellent beer from Boulevard Brewing, and they're hit or miss with me. Like, half the ones I have I really like, and the other half I really think they're, usually it's not a bad flavor, it's a bland, drab flavor. It's like a lack of flavor. They're just dull. But this is one of the ones from the good side. And I'm going to end this review by saying y'all go to Missouri and take a Boulevard Brewery tour.